Pascal Siakam has been traded from the Raptors to the Pacers. Big trade in the NBA yesterday afternoon. Two-time All-Star going to now go to Indiana and play alongside Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner for an Indiana team that is, sitting sixth in the East. Indiana gave up 3 first-round picks to get this done, and Pascal Siakam is 29 years old. He is a more traditional 4 than a modern 4. Doesn't really shoot the 3. He's in the last year of a contract, so he will reach free agency in July. If you're the Pacers, do you give up 3 first-round picks to get a guy who's in the last year of a contract? Particularly when people still don't necessarily look at the Pacers and think that they're actual NBA championship contenders, or do they only do this if they have a pretty good understanding that they're going to be able to re-sign him this summer?
I think they do, and he even kind of alluded to that he was, open to talking this summer with the Pacers. I would assume that they think that he's going to re-sign. As far as what they gave up, because you see a lot of people saying, well, that's a lot. 3 first-round picks to give up for Pascal Siakam, that's a lot. I think if you're a franchise like the Pacers, that's kind of what you have to do, right? It's in a way similar to the moves that the Grizzlies have had to make, right? You're not this destination necessarily that star players want to come to, and so you have to pay a big price in order to get guys like that to come play at a place like Indiana. And I think it's a smart move for the Pacers because they're sitting at 7th right now, and we know Tyrese Halliburton's a star. So, yeah, you get him kind of a running mate, and that team, I think this vaults them into that safe in that top 6 in the East. As far as contending for the East, I don't think that's going to really move the needle as much. But I think it definitely puts them in that top 6, which we know now in this version of the NBA playoffs, that's where you want to be.
Yeah, they're 23-17 now. They are a half game behind the Heat for 6th in the East. So they were 6th yesterday. They're now a half game back of 6th in the East. I'm just assuming they have to know they're going to be able to re-sign him because you don't give up 3 first-round picks for a rental that – might get you into the top 6, but ain't going to get you into the top 2. Ain't going to make anybody think you are ready to go beat the Celtics, Bucks, or Sixers in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Like even a Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, you're not putting that ahead of the Celtics, are you? Bucks, are you? Sixers, are you?
No,
not
at all.
So,
not at all.
So you don't do a rental to finish 4th in the East. You only do this if you have a pretty good belief that you're going to be able to re-sign him in free agency. Because even though he's not a modern forward in the sense that he doesn't stretch the floor, shoot threes, he is a scorer.
Yes.
And the Pacers needed a better secondary scorer than Miles Turner. Typically, championship contenders have better secondary players than Miles Turner. So he's an upgrade there. He gets bigger in the front court. They're kind of small, a lot of 6'5", 6'6" guys. So this gets you bigger in the front court. And, he's an amazing defensive presence, long arms and active and takes pride on that end of the court. So from a basketball perspective, it makes sense. You just gotta make sure and this is where conversations happen, whether they should or not, whether they're allowed or not. They just happen between agents and front offices. Like, hey, if we do this, how's your guy feel about living in Indianapolis, Indiana? If we gave him this, if we put this kind of money on the table, like, is he totally against signing here long term, or do we have a shot? Do we have a good shot? Can you give us a wink and a nod that we'll be able to get this done? Mm-hmm. You got to know that kind of stuff before you make a deal of this magnitude, and I'm assuming they probably do.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.